Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Another week, another edition of the show. This week, I'm very happy to have Pete from the awesome New Jersey-based band Palamino. Had the pleasure of listening to their stuff. Also had the great pleasure of having them perform at Hidden Tracks Records. And here we are today. I mean, we're gonna deep dive into Pete's musical journey to where they are today, to performing at the store, to just the music that shaped him. So, Pete, first and foremost, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Just happy to be here.
So with that introduction, as I said, we had the distinct pleasure of having you tear the house down at Hidden Tracks Records, and I want to huge thank you, big thank you for that. That was quite an experience. It was pretty awesome, and a bunch of people there that had never seen you before that are now fans, which is ultimately the goal of what we do, not only at this podcast but at the store. So
Hell
thank you.
yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for having us. It was you know, I want to say like you have probably have the best venue in Boonton right now. Probably the best venue I've ever played. Just like you got the sound down. The sound sounded awesome. And yeah, it's good. It's a great vibe in there for sure.
Well, thank you. It also, it's also the band that's making the music, make the place sound great. So, a lot of the credit of that goes to you guys. So then,
Thanks.
take some of that.
Yeah, for sure.
So why don't we start off? Give us a little quick history of the formation of Palamino and how it became to what it is today.
Well, Palomino kind of started as I don't know, like a side project of sorts. I am predominantly a drummer, and I've been drumming in bands for 15 plus years. And so how Palomino started is I was drumming in this band, Archie Alone, um, in like northern New Jersey. We were touring up and down the East Coast, and I was drumming a lot in that band. And my friend Michelle, who plays guitar in Palomino, was the cousin of our singer of that band, and she was just like always hanging around. And so we started hanging out. And once that band died, I don't know. I picked up the guitar. I didn't really know how to play except some power chords, and I had some songs. And then I showed Michelle, like we were just like hanging out one day, and long story short, she just pushed me to make this like an actual thing. I just wanted to maybe record some songs, play a show or two, and kind of like get out of my box of behind the brass of like being a drummer, Um, and I don't know, I just started to do it, and with like the encouragement from my close friends and Michelle found Becca, who she grew up with. She's our drummer. Um, and then we found a bassist that she knew, and it was all really her just like putting the pieces together. And I'm like, all right, well, I have these songs. Do you guys want to play them? And everyone was super stoked. And, it just kind of happened. And then the pandemic happened like almost immediately after we began. Uh, so it kind of slowed down a bit, but, we kept writing and doing streams and, making music videos and stuff like that. And we just kept going, and here we are. Our bassist left, our original bassist. I honestly thought before we recorded our last album, I thought that like that was going to be the end of Palamino. But I had another friend, Savin. He was like, yo, I want to join, like you guys are sick. And I'm like, all right, sick. So then here we are. And it's kind of like a second resurgence of Palamino in a way where we have a whole new sound, and I'm just stoked on that, through all of that adversity and turmoil during like not knowing if we'll ever play live again, that we're still doing it. So it's definitely nice.
Yeah, well, I have to commend you on, when you start something and something as drastic as the pandemic hits, it's
Yeah,
easy for people to just like say fuck it and move on because it
right.
didn't really have something major to begin with, right?
Yeah,
But to keep pushing forward through that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think people are getting enough credit, especially when it comes to artistry and bands and stuff like that.
right.
Once we had that kept pushing through and just being like, you know what? Yeah, we started fucking 4 months ago, and now we can't do anything. But
Yeah,
to come out of it and say, no, that was really special, and to continue doing it, and to have people behind you pushing you to do it, especially having Michelle. I have my own Michelle who pushed me to not only do the show but to open the
right.
store and to turn it into a music venue. So like having
Yeah, everyone needs
those
one.
yeah, having those people behind you is that believe in you. I mean, to carry it on through that bullshit we all went through is
Yeah,
it's pretty special, and it deserves to be, rewarded. And I think your reward is now coming with all the great music that you're putting out, and
yeah, for
especially the
sure.
last track that recently dropped. It's kind of like you can see that um the growth and
Right.
in the artistry in the band and songwriting, right?
Mhm.
When you have a couple songs yourself, when you're starting out, you're just like, I don't know what these are gonna do,
Right.
and to now see the progression, I mean, congratulations.
No,
That's
thank you. Appreciate that. Um, yeah, it's been kind of like just seeing how it goes, and the more I do it, the more I kind of like obsess over it, and because of that session, it's just like the songwriting, I guess, gets a little bit more cohesive, and there's like a consistent vision, and sound, and we're kind of like not married to any particular genre. You know, I've had a hard time with genres, but have been better recently with like, where do we fit? And I don't think it matters too much. It's just emotional rock music, whatever you want to call it, emo, alternative. Um, but we kind of teeter the line between pop punk and that sad kind of like dreamo thing.
well, I think nowadays, I mean, the biggest genre thing is just so you fall under a fucking playlist, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's really where it comes down to nowadays. I've always been of the ilk that music's fucking music, no matter what it is. A good song's a good song.
right,
Um, and it should be able to go on any fucking playlist. It's the stuff where it's like, oh well, you have to fall under the new pop punk playlist on Spotify, or is it
right.
the emo? Which one's getting more streams? Like, and
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff where the genre really only fucking matters. And to me,
right.
it doesn't even matter at all at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, when you started to grow up and listen to music, it goes back to, for me, it's always the first musical memory. The first time you heard
Right.
something as a kid that kind of
Yeah.
piqued your interest and made your ears stand up. Do you kind of remember what that was?
Um, yeah, I guess a few kind of musical awakenings here. Like growing up when I was super, super young, like, 5 to 10 years old, like my dad was a DJ in the 70s and 80s, spinning like disco and all that kind of stuff. So
Well, that's awesome and horrible at the same time.
yeah, I know, right? I know. But me being young, it's just kind of like it was always on, like just like that kind of dance, like that 90s, like La Bouche, like, be my lover, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was like my first like, oh wow, okay, like I like this, like whatever it is. Then as I got older, I had an older brother who was like into bands like Slipknot, System of a Down, 311 even. Like 311 is honestly one of my like guilty pleasures.
I wouldn't call it
Um,
guilty. I think they get shit on for all the wrong reasons.
dude, yeah, I
They
think you're right.
created something that no one else was doing or could
Exactly.
do what they did. So,
Exactly.
fuck guilty pleasure, man. That's just a
Exactly.
fucking pleasure. As soon as summer kicks off, my first song that I put on always is Amber.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. Yeah, I remember being on tour once in like 2016, and I found well one of my favorite records by them is their first one. It's called Music,
mhm.
and I found that on vinyl, and I still have it to this day. But it's yeah, that I remember seeing that record. A weird. I went to a show in Jersey, my first show ever, like big concert kind of thing, like not a basement show. And it was 311, uh, G Love and Special Sauce. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
He's been on the show before, so yeah.
Oh, really? Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
G Love's one of my
G
all-time
Love.
favorites. Yeah.
Dude, my first show ever. That's so such a small world. But then also Something Corporate opened.
Oh,
And
wow.
and that was such like a genre mash that I was 13 at the time. I didn't know, you know, I didn't really care. It was just like these bands are cool, and I'm in a field in Waterloo Village, Stanhope, New Jersey,
Yeah.
like
That's where I saw
uh,
the first 3 Lollapaloozas.
no way.
Yep.
Yeah, that field, it was magical at the time. Like I guess like Something Corporate was my first foray into some kind of like um, emo music, like emotional. I'm like, what is this guy? These guys playing the piano, and you know, he sounds like he is really sad for some reason, but I love it. But then as soon as 311 came on that show, everyone was just jumping. It was just that energy, that they brought that just blew my mind. And I was just like, man, I want to do this. no matter in what capacity. Like I want to be involved with whatever this energy is. And I think from my beginning with like the dance stuff with my dad being a DJ until like, the 311s, and I got into System of a Down and Slipknot, and then the emo stuff. It's just all like, it's all about energy, like emotion, compiled with energy for me. And as long as the music has that, then, I'm into it for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's a great first big show. Was that your first ever concert? What do you remember what your first ever concert was?
Yeah, I think well, my first ever concert was like a real crappy, like my friend who was 14 had a band at the time, and it was like in someone's basement in my hometown. Like I grew up in Old Tappan,
Hmm.
which is like way up North Jersey, like bordering New York. So like, between I'd say like 2003, 2006, like there was like, since all that emo, like the Taking Back Sundays and stuff started coming out, like it was a fad, and people like even like the jocks wanted to be emo. It was really strange. So like everyone, there was like such a scene up by me, but then once that kind of died down, there was really nothing, going on up in my area. So I remember like, man, I don't like I still want to be going to shows. Like I don't want to just like not do this ever. And like all my friends started doing other shit. And um so then there's that band Archie Alone that I played drums in, like I just knew somebody who asked me to fill in on drums for a gig, and I said yes. And saying yes to that kind of brought me down to where the scene was still happening. And that was like Montclair, New Jersey for me, like the Meat Locker, shout out.
Yeah.
Talk about basements, like that basement. I've made so many awesome friends that I still talk to in the music community around here.
Well, I think too when it comes to, I don't know when the shift was really happening, but when I grew up, it was Masonic temples, VFW halls, firehouses,
Yeah,
and like getting to see all these awesome bands perform that would later go on to be something like I was lucky enough to grow up in the 80s and 90s. So
right,
in the 90s, like there was this resurgence of like, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how small you are, all these different bands would get together and play for
right.
kids. You
Hmm.
being 14, going to the Masonic Temple and Ridgewood, and like getting to see Weston and 49 Reasons and like all these
Oh
like
hell yeah,
bands that you're like, man, this is pretty fucking awesome. And then it kind of
yeah,
died off, I want to say, in the early 2000s, like for the most part. Like all of a sudden, it was now every band has to be playing like the Bowery Ballroom.
right,
So everything jumped up so fast. And I think, like, credit to the Meat Locker, like it's still that small basement place where bands can cut their teeth.
yeah,
And
exactly.
those are important. I'm trying to cultivate a place where you can cut your teeth
Yeah,
and
you're doing a great job.
also have someone who's been doing it for 50 years play there. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
trying to have that a semblance of like, how do we do it, so everyone has a chance, instead of just saying, nah, man, that's just
Yeah,
not going to work. I
right,
understand it's your first time playing live, but like,
right.
and you want to do it somewhere, but having places that will allow it, they did go away. Like they stopped having fire hall shows and stopped being able to
Yeah,
go to Elks Lodges. And I don't know what it was that stopped that. I really don't. I can't put my finger on it, but they just kind of went away.
right, right. Yeah, there's some places I think, aside from the Meat Locker and their own respected markets, that like, I see people like people are putting on shows still, but especially after the pandemic, I feel like the scene has shifted a little bit, and you know, I'm still going to a lot of local shows now, like that they're happening, and like I went to Crossroads last week to see a friend's band. Um,
My favorite
that was
venue in all of Jersey.
yeah, it's like they're still doing it, and it's like you bigger bands come through there, and also you have like local shows of like awesome music. And it's they got great food and drinks and shit too. So, um, but other than that, like I don't see. like the basement's much. I mean, New Brunswick scene has always been bumping, and there's a whole slew of new kids that are still
Yeah, I
doing the
mean,
damn thing.
college town. I mean, that's where it all
Yeah,
comes from. Like
exactly.
having
Yeah,
Rutgers there. I mean, that's why that'll never go away because
yeah,
kids will make their
exactly.
own fucking scene no matter how they can do it.
Right.
They'll do
And I
it.
think that's super cool. And you know, being involved, that's like I'm in my 30s and still being involved in that is super, it feels great to still kind of be involved, but it's also like you go to a basement show in New Brunswick and you're like the oldest person there by like 12 years and you're kind of like, yeah, yeah, yeah. This is cool, but try not to feel weird about it, you know?
Hey, how do you think I feel?
Yeah,
I'm much older than that, and I still go to these,
right.
young shows because I just love music and I love hearing what the
Right.
next big thing's going to be. I love
Yeah, of course.
seeing kids try and figure it out. Like that's my favorite thing is like watching them try to figure out what they're supposed to be as an artist or a band. I just love like that raw, they're doing it because they want to do it. There's nothing behind it, especially when you first start, right? There's nothing
Right.
like, I just want to make music. Like, I just want to have a band and do this thing. And,
Right.
and that's 99.8% of the bands. And, that 0.02% are the ones that are like, want to get into it and be millionaires immediately and be
Right. Right.
TikTok stars.
Yeah,
But I love
exactly.
watching that raw passion and emotion when you get to go to those little places. And then I
Yeah,
stick out like a
of
sore
course.
thumb as the oldest man in the room. So
No, no, you're youthful, I'd like to say.
I appreciate that. Thanks. Now, when did you so were the drums the first instrument that you picked up to play, or was it something else like in school band or whatever where you picked up something
Uh,
else?
well, I mean, in like sixth grade, I must have been like 12, 11. They kind of like test you on a trumpet and they're like, all right, like you're more good for this. And so like they
Yeah.
gave me the trombone out of nowhere. I guess like I don't know, just like being a big tall guy when I was younger. Like they're like, yeah, this guy's great with the trombone. He's got a lot of air in those lungs. Um, but then I just kind of like, saw the drums, like the drum section. They were always like doing cool shit back there. And I'm like I got to get back there, and I just asked my mom like if I could switch instruments, and like back then also you're young, everybody wanted to be a drummer, so the drum section was packed, and they didn't want to take me in, but I think my mom convinced them, and eventually I was like doing drums in the school band, and then like the jazz band, and then it just kind of like spiraled into like as soon as I got into high school, I started playing basement shows with my friends, and it's just kind of like spiraled out of control at that point.
Do you remember the first time you played in front of strangers and where it was?
The first time I played in front of strangers, no, I actually don't. Um, Man, I mean, I guess it must be at one of these band um, events at like school. I remember I had a drum solo in jazz band in eighth grade. Like stuff like that. I can't recall my first time ever though. That's my memory is shot. So
All right.
hard to
Well,
pull.
so how about you mentioned you start playing with friends and you start playing basement shows. I have to know the first band you were ever in and what the name of it was.
Oh man. Um, all right. So the first band that I was in where we started playing basement shows, we were called Pierce the Sky.
Okay.
And I guess like a little bit like post-hardcore, screamo, like emo kind of thing. Um, but I remember we played this basement show once with these three bands that were like the top bands in Bergen County, like kind of like, remember the Drive Through Records days?
Yeah.
Um, and they weren't like except one band, this band Madison, that like I grew up loving. They got signed to Drive Through, like one of the last bands that signed to that label before they kind of broke up. And we played a show with Madison, this other band, the Early Rising, and this other band, the Medic. And these bands were like at the time, like everyone talked about them like in the circle. So playing a basement show with them, I was just kind of like, I thought I was the coolest dude ever. You know what I mean? And that I remember like it was yesterday. I met some of my friends that I still talk to this day at that show. Particularly my friend Steve Kellner, who records all of the Palomino stuff. He's kind of like, the fifth member in a way, where I just kind of go there no matter what, and he makes our stuff sound great. But but just like the community of like, having these relationships that you'll have for the rest of your life is just kind of like so fucking cool that, music does that and brings us all together.
Did you kind of have like a moment where you knew that you never wanted music to not be a part of your life and not be a part of creating something?
Definitely. I think a lot of people who, especially in my earlier years, a lot of people are quick to be like, all right, well, this didn't work out. I guess I got to do something else. Um, and especially in that area that I was just talking about like in Bergen County with my first basement shows and stuff, I just saw my friends like dropping like flies. Like they didn't want to play anymore. They didn't want to, they just wanted to work and make money and, which is, you got to live, you got to, support yourself and stuff like that. I totally understand. But to me, I was kind of like, I still want to play every day. I don't want this to fizzle out and be a thing of the past. Like I want to grow. I want to be, in a band that like plays bigger shows. Like I just knew that I just wanted to continue. So I was kind of scared once I saw all my friends kind of like, yeah, no, like I don't want to do that anymore. And I was like, well, I kind of still do. So, I was just gravitated towards where it was still happening. And I'm just so thankful that I found, you know, places like the Meat Locker where everyone was just there to do one thing, and that was just play music and have a good time.
Yeah, I think sometimes we grow up and art being something that, for, I guess, usually for a lot of times in life, that there's that. I grew up with, parents who grew up in the 50s, and,
Hmm.
there's no way you can make money with art. This is the formula you're supposed to follow. So like when I grew up, this is the way you're supposed to do it. It took me till I'm in my late 40s to follow my real dream, right? But
Hmm.
and still like telling people that like I was still nervous to tell my parents who are 80 years old like hey, this is what I'm doing with my life now.
Right.
I followed what you wanted, what you supposedly laid out for. This is how you live your life, and now I'm going to follow my dream, and I'm going to make it work.
Right.
And it is really hard when you have dream, and music has always, since I was 6 years old, music has been my life.
Right.
Even it would sit in the background while I would be working. I travel around the world and the country, and the first thing I did when I landed for work, I looked up the closest music venue and the closest record store, because I
Right.
was going to see live music and I was going to buy music somewhere else in the world or the country.
Yeah.
And it was always there. And it always kind of felt like, did I give up too soon because I was following this stupid script that apparently is laid out for you in life of how to live your life?
Yeah.
And but at the same time, I don't regret any of it. It's just I did it a different way, and
Yeah.
hopefully those people that like gave up, or like, this is, I need to go make money and do that, and how you said, yeah, you got to live, but hopefully it still burns in them to at one point just be like, you know what, fuck it, I got to do it.
Yeah.
And for you to
Exactly.
keep doing it is like, kudos to you for having that, to be like, fuck that, I still want to play, I still want to play every day, I still want to do this, and I can do what you're supposed to do so you live, but at the same time you can still do what you want to do, which is great. So good on you,
Yeah.
man.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Yeah. It's definitely like just ingrained in my bloodstream at this point, where I won't be happy if I'm not, doing this. And, I'm so happy for friends like Michelle to bring me out of my box, because singing has just been the most cathartic thing that I could think of doing. And I've been through a lot the past few years, and it's just developing kind of and finding my voice has been difficult, but I find that it's like finally happening. And every time I sing, it's just like the best thing ever. And I'm like, that's exactly why I'm doing this. You know what I mean?
What was your biggest apprehension when it came to singing?
Um, my biggest apprehension, people telling me that I suck, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like for the longest time, not so much anymore, but for the longest time, I definitely cared way too much about what people thought of me. And, you know, I wouldn't want to post, like I wouldn't want to be that guy. I like getting up and talking in front of an audience, like it just seems so daunting to me. Like the fake people in my head, like are just like, yo, you suck, like in the back of the room. And I'm just like, that's just how the mind works. And I just been focusing on pumping my mind full of positive um, things to help me not think that way, and just kind of go out there and kill it and think about that stuff later if I have to.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to especially vocal stuff, I mean, talking to a guy 250 episodes in, kind of talks for a living, and I
Yeah,
still fucking hate my own voice. And I
right.
every time I think when I'm putting out an episode, I'm thinking the first thing that's going to come back is someone's going to be like, "Man, that host, his fucking voice is terrible. Why does he do this?" So it
Yeah.
it's hard to get away from it.
Yes, the imposter syndrome I think they talk about. Or
Yeah,
you know, you're always your hardest critic, and the more I read and listen to other people, like that is just a creative's disease, I think. It's everyone deals with that sort of self-doubt. But I think having a close tight circle of people that are supportive and on your side, it makes it a lot easier.
yeah, definitely. I mean, every time I think I have like the worst episode ever, you know, I'll get a message from someone be like, "Dude, that episode was amazing," and I'll be like,
Right.
that felt like the worst one I ever did." Like, but
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it, again, it's anybody can like something, right? So at
Yeah.
least the one person who liked it reached out. But
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
now, in your career so far, has there been a performance, a live performance that you have had? I'm going to look for a good and a bad one, like that just occupy this space in your brain for some reason that they're just never going to go away. So, like your worst performance that you remember and why it was bad, and then your best performance of why it was good.
Huh, that's tough. Let's see. I guess I don't have either in my head of like something that I harp on, you know. It's just like every show is a new chance to do something good. And I mean, I watch a lot of tapes. Like I just record us to see, you know, how we actually sound. Um, I think everyone should do that, to kind of like hone in your mistakes and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of watching our past shows, and I cringe every time at like my voice and the kind of shit I say. But I don't know. I think I've definitely played some weird shows. Not much with Palamino lately, or at all. I think I've played a lot weirder shows, playing drums in my past bands. Um, but yeah, I can't really think of anything right now, to be honest with you.
Wow, you have a great forgetful memory of mistakes. So lucky,
Yeah,
good on you.
it's better to just get that shit out of your head as long as you're working to better your mistakes the next time you do it. I don't need to harp on stuff. I mean, I I harp on like fucking up at work and saying something to somebody more than like the stage performance, I think. You know what I mean? Like I'm always like thinking of that awkward moment uh when I'm, because I say a lot of stupid shit, so that's about it.
I think we all do. It's just some of us realize it and others don't.
Yeah, I think I'm too hyper aware sometimes, where I think, my hyper awareness was a superpower. I think it's also a detriment because I'm always thinking that's like has to do with like the like caring about what people think about you. It's just like being too hyper aware. It's like makes you not think about yourself. You're just thinking about others, in that way.
Agreed. Now, this is one of my favorite questions I get to ask. And,
Okay.
with all the songs that you've released to date, if no one had ever heard your music before and they wanted to find out what type of band you are, what song of yours would you play for them?
Ooh. Well, um, I would say there is this song on this EP that we dropped. I would say one from our recent album, but I feel like this one is just like with all of us in the band, just love to play and just think it encapsulates like the mood of what Palomino is. And that is the song Holy.
It's not like I have a problem. It's not like I've ever been that holy. It's not like you. Never really thought you'd leave in the night. Never really think sometimes. I'm never happy. Just looking for the right time, quick. But I'm so slow. What you see, life ends. I can taste it, but it's somewhere far from the surface. I'm never giving up, but they gave me all up again. I'm never stable. Didn't have sign, didn't have sign. I think it's just a combination when I'm staring at your eyes. When I lie to you, I'm making it hard. When I lie to you, I'm in love. I felt this way for weeks, but I can't get out of this apartment. I'm perpetually sad. It's a never-ending outcome. Like lies I'll never know.
Holy off the Don't Lie to Your Friends EP, and this is like a pandemic song. Well, it's a pandemic EP. Like we wrote and recorded it, during COVID. So, it's just a lot of dark imagery, and I say a lot of stuff that is very cathartic for me to say, about suicide and this and that. That I think if someone who's never heard us before, if they heard that, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, I kind of like get what this band is doing."
Yeah, no, and that's what I look for. It's what best encapsulates everything you're trying to convey to an audience, and for that, like my follow-up question to that is that your favorite song you've released to date, or would you say there's another song that's your favorite song that you've, written and released so far?
Man, I think that is close to my favorite song for sure. It's either that one or um The Thought of Everything on our record that we dropped. That one is just super fun to play, and when we dropped that, I just you know had a good time on the rollout, and it was just kind of like I didn't get sick of it, and we had a lot of fun with content and filming stuff with that song too. And we did a music video with this a friend of ours, Anthony Bowens. He's a wrestler for AEW,
Mm-hmm.
and Michelle and Becca like went to high school with him, and so we just kind of DM'd him and asked if he wanted to be in a video because he's like, he plays sold out shows and arenas to like his wrestling fans. So I'm like, this guy's totally gonna say no, but he said yes, and I just like booked the whole day out. I took off of work, and he was like the nicest guy and the most creative dude who loves emo music, and it just turned out to be a great thing. So I just think the whole rollout of that song, and everything we got ready for that definitely was my favorite that we've done so far.
I like that. And, tying back to the entertainment business that is wrestling. So that's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
exactly. Yeah, that was fun. So,
do you remember what you were listening to the day you got your driver's license when you went to pick up your first friend?
the day. That is such a specific question and a very good question because I think I do. It is, I think it's by this band Drop Dead Gorgeous. They were a metalcore band from like, late 2000s, like 2008 ish. They had this song called Dress for Friend Request, and it was just like it starts with a piano and then it goes into a breakdown. And
Like
I
most
remember going to get my
metalcore songs of that time do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I just described the whole genre
Yeah.
around that time. But it was just like, I could hear it right now and also see me in my first car, the Ford Focus with the hatchback. Yeah, it was great.
Do you remember who the first friend was that you picked up?
Yeah, it was Michael Mecca, my boy from home. Yeah, Mike Mecca. It was me and him. We were probably going to pick other people up because I was stoked. But yeah, I do remember that, me and him listening to that song on my first time.
That's awesome. Yeah, the car fills up pretty quick when you get your license.
Exactly. It's like, hop in, baby.
Yeah. Everybody, let's go. We can squeeze in. It comes a clown car real fast.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you get pulled over by the cops in my town because they were horrible.
Oh, the best. It's the best and the worst. My buddy got his license. The day he got his license was Lollapalooza 93.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So we're driving up to Waterloo in New Jersey.
Okay.
And now there's this long line of cars and it's just dead stop. And so we get out and we're sitting on the roof of his car and he's still in the driver's, and the cars start to move a little bit. And when I say move a little bit, I mean, it had to have been 7 miles an hour.
Oh, damn.
What happens? The cop runs over to us, hands him his first ticket on the day he gets his license.
Oh, my God.
Us assholes got on the roof of the car.
Oh, my God. You were just waiting for it.
Yeah. And we were listening to, when he got his license, I remember, because we were blasting Rage Against the Machine cassette that he just got. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Evil Empire or whatever.
No, it was the self-titled, the Frere.
Oh shit, yeah,
that's
of
how
course.
old it was. Yeah, that's how
nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little, obviously I'm a little younger, but Evil Empire was my shit.
All right. So in your life, do you have a band that you constantly turn to that never lets you down? Rolling Stone usually asks for your favorite band. I ask for the band that never lets you down, that you constantly turn to when you need something to listen to.
Nice. Well, I mean, since we've been on this topic, I'd say probably like 311. They've released so many good albums. And every album I revisit is just like always gold, never lets me down. System of a Down is also another band that like I love them so much. I flew out to San Francisco last summer to go see them and the Deftones, or them and Deftones, and it was awesome. They never let me down. Also, I mean, a local mention. I know you probably know them. This band Folly.
Mm-hmm.
They are one of my favorite bands, and everything that they've dropped is like they never let me down. I can always go back there and find something I enjoy.
Yeah, that's one of those bands that it always amazes me, like how big of a following they have locally, right? Like no matter where they play, they're selling a sold out show.
Yeah.
but you take them a little bit out of this area and no one's ever heard of them.
I know.
And it doesn't make sense to me. That's the kind
Yeah,
of
it's crazy.
like that. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a ticket to see them.
Yeah.
You take them a little bit outside this area, or if you mention to somebody outside the area, they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah. They're kind of like a Jersey novelty. And yeah, they kind of broke up there for a little bit, but I mean, they were doing something that no one else was doing either, you know? And there's a band in the scene too. They're called The Best of the Worst, and they kind of have a folly thing going on too. And I love them as well. They definitely do a good job with that kind of like. I mean, I feel like The Best of the Worst is like actual ska core because they got horns and stuff.
yeah.
Folly, you know, with those rhythms, they're kind of lumped into that. But I love that kind of unique take on the genre that they have, you know.
Yeah, and then like especially with like that unique take, like it always goes back to like one of the bands that, you know, one album and done, Operation Ivy, like how influential they were on so many people that, but at the same time, like they didn't start to really be talked about outside of that Lookout Records punk rock scene until probably the early 2000s, where people like, oh, did you ever hear this band? And it's just like, yeah, they did it before everybody did it. Yeah, Sublime blew up, and you know, and
Yeah,
they
exactly.
stole everything from Op Ivy, and you know, and shit like that. But it's like there are so many bands that like the ska core thing. Ska's always been a love-hate relationship that I have with it.
Yeah,
where it's like,
me too.
The only thing is like there's so many ska bands that sound exactly the same because it's the same style of music over and over again, but it's the ones who stand out that it's usually just like an amazing vocalist that can make that music sound different is why I'll be like, oh, I can listen to that, but I can't listen to that. And people are like, well, it's the same style of music. I'm like, it's not. There's something special over here, and it's usually the vocalist and makes it different.
Like some of that standout part that makes you go like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah. It's not the normal horn sound and, you know, dancing around type of stuff. And that's where, you know, like bands that sometimes incorporate it, that do it. So like a band like Piebald that will all of a sudden like throw this ska riff into one of their songs and throw a horn noise in there. I'm like, I love that all of a sudden.
Yeah. Tasteful, you know, takes a little touch.
Yeah. Now, do you remember the last song that you cried to?
Ooh, the last song that I cried to? Oof. You know, I think wait, no, yeah, it was fuck, what was it? It was a song cuz I've been in the hospital like the past like 5 months. And I had surgery 2 months ago, and I remember as soon as I got out of the hospital, I was in my girlfriend's car, and oh man, what song was it? It's I think it was a Pine Grove song.
Some of their tunes will do that to you.
Yeah, like, but it wasn't even like it wasn't really warranted. Like, if I heard that in the right mind, like I wouldn't have gotten so emotional, just like everything going on. It's just like, you know, when the music hits at that right moment, you can't stop that wave of emotion, you know, it's just kind of like flushes and you're just like, oh shit, like this is happening and I don't care.
I still have that when I like talk about songs or lyrics in a song, like that emotion always still comes up, like because it puts you right back in that moment. That's what I always talk about with music being like the closest thing in reality we have to a time machine. Because you are transported immediately back to you know, that moment.
Right. In the car with your friend when you first got your license.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, you mentioned earlier about, you know, 311 being the guilty pleasure. But I mean, we've talked about that, and I don't think there really is a guilty pleasure. But, you know, the thing that I'm looking for when I ask this is usually like the thing that no one really knows that you get tons of enjoyment out of listening to that people will be really surprised about.
Okay. Well, I guess the thing that, like, you know, I mentioned I listen to dance music and, you know, I listen to a bunch of like energy type kind of music, but out of left field, I listen to a lot of like classical music, some certain jazz artists, and like Mozart, I like throw him on and just like not think for a while. Because I feel like sometimes I'm not in the mood for lyrics per se. I
Yeah.
just want something to think to, if that makes any sense.
No, without it, I do it like I do it driving a lot where like
Yeah.
I go on lots of long drives
Hmm.
and I used to travel a lot for work and I would always anything that was like within 6 hours I would drive instead of fly just because
Right.
I preferred it. But for an hour I'd be listening to deathcore metal and then the next hour I'm listening to classical
Exactly.
just
You need to
to
give your
like
ears a rest.
yeah and to just like be by myself like and be
Right.
one with myself. And that's what it does because it's so I guess it puts you in like a little bit of a trance, you
Right.
know. So I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, um, you know, I am driving and I will not know that I didn't put any music on.
Oh,
Isn't that
yeah.
wild?
Dude, it's
Like
crazy.
sometimes I'll be so just like thinking about one thing after another, or whether it's a song. I do a lot of like my songwriting in my head before I go to sit down, just to kind of like, I obsess over the thoughts and like the placements. And I could think, like, I remember I went to go upstate and it was like an hour and a half drive. I got in my car like 6 a.m. and I show up an hour and a half later and I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't even play any music. I was just staring at the road like a bot. You know what I mean? But I'm just like so just overwhelmed by my thoughts sometimes that I just like the silence, I think. Um, just it needs to be harnessed, to kind of like recharge your soul a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, silence is there to rescue from the noise. And I do that a lot where I'll just be driving, then all of a sudden realize I've been in the car for an hour and there's been nothing on. And it
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
and it shocks me every time, but at the same time it shouldn't because,
Right.
you know, my my mind without me knowing is telling me there needs to be no noise except for those tires on the road.
Right.
That hum of the tires on the road is probably the best noise you can have sometimes because
Yeah.
it gets you away from the shit that's going on outside and you aren't paying attention to the other assholes on the road.
Right.
You're focused on what you need to do and where you're going and your mind can
Exactly.
wander.
And that kind of droning, like, how some people sleep with like that white noise kind of thing. It's sounds like that. It's kind of comforting for me.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to you creating your style of music, there's no genre because we didn't genre label it. But when it comes to creating your style of music, when we create things, we usually have influences around us. And do you like have maybe an influential artist or a muse or something that brings you to that creation and the influence that helps you create what you do?
Yeah. You know, we talked a lot about like my early music upbringing and those types of bands. But where we pull a lot from is bands like, Balance and Composure is one of our favorite bands, like just collectively as a whole.
Yeah, one of my
Um,
favorites too.
yeah, all of us, like just how heavy they can get, but also the emotion in John Simmons' voice is just like he could bring me to tears sometimes, Um, Tiger's Jaw, a little bit of Title Fight. We have a lot of pop punk influence too from bands like the Wonder Years and Story So Far and things like that. But I think for the most part, all if you were to ask everybody in Palomino, it's just kind of like Balance and Composure seems to be the synonymous, um, you know, uh, thing that we kind of like and try to encapsulate that kind of emotion when it comes to writing and stuff like that.
Well, it makes a lot of sense now, like when you say balance and composure, because I had been trying to place like your style and that's what I try to do sometimes is like I
Right.
wonder who their influences are and try to pull it myself. But like,
Yeah.
with See You in My Dreams, your latest song, like now it makes total sense. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, like I just had that light bulb go off my head. I'm like, oh, now
right.
it makes sense. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
get
like
it. But
those heavy chords and also the kind of dreamy
yeah,
verse vibes. Like,
yeah,
that's exactly what we're all about.
yeah. Well, kudos to you because it I can usually pinpoint and I couldn't with you. So, I mean, you
Well,
did a
that's good,
great
I
job.
guess, right?
Yeah, no, it is a great, it is really good because when I say it makes sense, like that is not like by any means, I'm not trying to say anything bad about it. It's just like, oh,
Yeah, of
now
course.
I get the style. Now I
Right,
get, and that's another band that I would always say, like, there's no genre to throw them under. So,
right.
like, they
Yeah, they're
just
kind
do
of
their own
fluid.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're making your own sound. Like Palomino has, like, I think I can see other bands and go, oh yeah, that's the Palomino sound.
Well, that's nice. Thanks, man. Hell yeah.
All right, here's a tough one.
Uh
And
oh.
world's gonna end in 5 minutes. Meteors hurling into the earth, and you have to listen to one song and one song only. What are you listening to?
Oh shit. Um. Oh my God. You know, this is a hard one because there's so many. um. Oh man. Like I want to say. Oh man, I want to say like a recent song, but like there's so many old songs. You know. Um. Man, I only got 5 minutes. Meteor's coming.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's the first thing that popped into your head.
First thing that popped into my head, Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
All right, yeah. Hey, I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like these days the Beatles get a lot of hate, but my parents were mega Beatles fans, and they were, genius songwriters, I think, in my opinion. And that song, I mean, I think that one was a George Harrison one, I think.
It was.
Um, but even so, it's just like you hear the first, chord progression of that song, and your anxiety goes away, and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, here comes the sun, man. Let's go. The meteor could be coming at your face, and you're like, you know what? The sun's coming, so I don't care.
Nice. I love the description behind it too.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So let's say next question would be unfortunately there's a catastrophic fire in your home. Everyone, all living things get out safely. And
Okay.
you're running back in. You have time to run back in and grab one piece of music oriented item. What's the one thing that you're grabbing as you run out?
Ooh, ooh. Well, I have all of my records in my storage spot, so
So
I
those are
would say
safe.
I would grab a record, so they're safe already. um, so I guess I don't know if that's cheating, but
It's a little
uh,
cheating. You didn't need to tell us. But
that's so true. I'm divulging too much information. Um, I would probably, oh man, I would probably grab my mandolin. I have a mandolin that my grandfather gave me before he passed. It was like built in the 50s kind of thing, and it's hanging on my wall. And I think out of everything music related, that piece is really important to me.
wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like the transition from your records already being saved to something more meaningful. So
Yeah. That's how we do it, baby. Yeah, I
oh,
just like looked to my right and it was on the wall, and I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. That thing's awesome.
that's awesome. Now, we're gonna be finishing up here in a minute or two.
Okay.
So first thing, I'd love for you right now to be able to tell everybody how to find what it is Palomino's up to, what you're doing, all your fucking handles and stuff like that, so listeners
Yeah.
can keep up what you're doing.
So yeah, you could find us across all socials at palomino.world. I think there's like a dot on some of them and no dot on like TikTok or something. But also if you do www.palomino.world, that'll be our website, and we got our music videos up there and all our links and stuff that you could see. Like you said, we dropped a new song a few weeks ago, and we got another one coming in like a month or so. And we're playing Salem, Massachusetts, and Stamford, Connecticut in a few days. So
Nice.
if anybody is out there, come hang out.
That's awesome. Yeah, and again, I mean, the big thing for me is like getting to listen to your music and then getting to see it live, and this is my big thing when it comes to music. A lot of people can create things in a box, right? You can go into a studio, you can create music, and how it's performed live that's the standard for me. It's not the recording that's the standard, it's the live performance. And you guys kicked ass and are going to continue to kick ass. So I mean, anyone out there that's listening, if you have the opportunity to see Palamino, go see him, buy a fucking t-shirt just like I did. It's the way that we get to help the bands that are creating music get on to that next fucking town. So all you can do is say thank you to them and buy a fucking shirt, buy a record, buy something. Usually a t-shirt is they'll make more money than they will on a fucking record. So
yeah, I've been printing my own t-shirts, and some of them aren't perfect, but we got them.
Yep, and that's what makes them unique.
Hard work. Yeah, there we go.
Well, we are moving on to our final segment. Our final segment is our weekly threes. It's 3 things you're listening to right now that you would like people to check out. You give your 3, then I give my 3. And you guys have been on the threes here before, so.
I like this one. So I'll go first?
Yeah, you go first.
So I think the first thing I'm listening to right now, off the top of my head, is this band, Amel and the Sniffers, I think you say it.
I think it's a meal, but yeah.
A meal?
Yeah.
There we go. That's better. But yeah, so like their marketing totally worked on me. Like I've been getting videos from these guys like for the past year, and like the first like 10 times you see it, I'm just kind of like, all right. And then, the 11th touch point, they call it, like I am a fan, and I just been really loving the new record that they dropped out. I think it's called Cartoon Darkness. So that's definitely a good one. Also that new Super Heaven record.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is super sick. Really love that. What's that one called? I think it's a self-titled that they dropped last month. The whole thing is fire. And third, I'm looking at my like list here, like, 'cause I don't really know. This band High Vis. Do you
yeah,
you ever heard of them?
Yeah,
dude, they are amazing, and I'm just now getting onto them. And that record they released in, I think, like 2019. It's like No Sense, No Feeling. Really awesome, and it's awesome. It's an awesome record to play at work because he's like kind of yell singing, but like not really. It's pretty like retail friendly because I work in a wine shop, so like I spin a lot of the emo stuff that I can't get away with,
Yeah, it's a great. Their last album too that came out last year was really good too.
Oh, the Guided Tour. Yeah, I haven't dropped into that much yet, but yeah, I'll listen to that.
Awesome. Good 3, man. All right. Turn for my 3 for this week.
Yeah,
the first one is a band called Sleeve, and that's Sleave. The name of the album is How to Get Over It. This is where I kind of have to genre label, so you may know what you're getting into. I'd say it's alt rock from Virginia.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sleeve.
Next is a band called Ravens. The album is called Ravens, and it's kind of New Jersey psych fuzzy shoegaze rock proggy. Yeah, it's a lot of things going on there.
Nice.
I usually tell people it has the essence of early Royal Blood when they were really good.
Oh, sweet.
It's just a drummer and a guitarist who sings. So
love that.
Really good. And they will be, and it's just a shout out, but I have been rocking it, but they will be playing our 1-year anniversary at HiddenTrack
sweet.
Records. So
okay.
Which is May 31st. If
31st.
Anyone's around. Saturday, May 31st. If anyone's around, come one, come all.
Hell yeah. I'll try to be there.
It's free. So
sweet.
And last but not least is a band, one album They're called Bender, but if you look them up, you have to go dot 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 Bender. You don't have to spell it out; just put the dots. The name of the album is Jehovah's Hit List, and they're like alt rock, kind of. It's Nirvana meets Soundgarden meets Apex Theory. That's what I threw on.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a crazy
Yeah.
genre mix right there.
I think it was like came out in, don't hold me to it, but it was like 1999 or 2000 it came out, the album. And I found it, and it's just like something that at the moment I didn't know that I was missing in my life. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is awesome. And
I love that feeling.
Yeah. And then I look it up. I'm like, oh, well, that's all there is. So, but I'm glad I found it.
Yeah. Just a honorable mention though, speaking of like a one record type deal, have you ever heard of this band Blue Smiley? I think they're called
Blue Smiley.
Hold on, wait. Yeah, this band, I think oh, sorry, I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the singer passed away, and like his parents like they started to gain traction, and his parents were like, oh, let's put his stuff out, and because people are liking it, and they got like 250,000 monthlies on Spotify, and it's kind of like a post humanist project. It was like they only have two albums. Yeah, but pretty cool stuff. It's like genre mixed as fuck. So
no, that's awesome. I just wrote it down, so I'd never heard of it, so I'm definitely checking that out when we're done here today.
Sweet,
that's awesome.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, Pete, thank you again so much for everything, man. I mean, for the conversation today, for creating the music that brought us together, and for your incredible performance at the store. It was transcendent. It put us in another stratosphere as a music venue. So
oh, wow.
You being the first full hard band. And when I say hard, it's just that different style of, as opposed to the Americana rock or the singer-songwriter stuff we'd been doing previously. You guys brought us to the next level. So, I mean, it's a huge personal thank you for that.
Thank you for having us, man. Seriously. It's all about you, really, for creating the community. And we're just happy to be there.
Well, thank you for those kind words. I don't like people saying nice things to me, but
me either, but get used to it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And you guys are welcome back whenever you need a place to play. You always have a home at Hidden Tracks.
Sweet.
But everybody else out there in the world, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Palamino, and have a great fucking time.
Hell yeah.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.